Hey everyone, welcome back or to my channel. This is Tenzin. If you're new, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button. So in today's video, I wanted to delve into the concept of self-love and being self-loving and talk a little bit about how I practice this on a daily basis and hopefully give you some insight and tips on how to incorporate these habits that I'm about to talk about into your lifestyle and your self-love journey. So self-love for me is very complex. I feel as though it is a journey, not a destination. Self-love is the foundation to your happiness, your success, your relationships, and really all the aspects of your life, which is why I think it is so important to embark on a self-love journey if you haven't done so already. It's never too late to start. And yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the self-love habits that I have been maintaining and practicing, and I hope that at least one of these hits home with you. The first habit, also before I get into this, I feel as though everybody looks at self-love a little differently. There's so many different definitions to self-love. My personal definition is bettering yourself so that you can become the most ideal version of yourself, or the best version of yourself, either way. And this can mean physically, socially, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So I really do think it is about investing in yourself, doing the inner work necessary to become the best version of yourself. So with that being said, I am going to start talking about the habits that I practice in order to maintain my self-love. So the first one I'm going to touch on is social media cleansing. And I have a notebook with me that has these tips written down because I may lose track and I may forget to mention one of these. So if you see me looking down, that's what it is. So as I just said, a social media cleanse looks a little bit different to everybody, but for me personally, what I do is I look at the people that I'm following, the accounts that I'm following, and I look to see if they are guiding in my personal growth or my self-love journey, and if they are serving it. And if they aren't, I will mute it, unfollow, block, do what I need to do, because at the end of the day, what you consume on the internet and social media in general really does make an impact on your mental health in some way, and it can also just shift your mood throughout the day without even you realizing it in the moment. And it could just be from somebody's post, somebody's story, or something that you were receiving on your end that just didn't sit right with you, or that just put you in a mind space and a headspace that you don't want to be in, which is why it's so important to look to see whether all the people you're following are posting and promoting messages that are kind, positive, and full of inspiration. If not, really reevaluate what the reason why you are following them, because like I said, what you consume on the media plays a big role in your overall happiness and state of mind. So I think that's very important in going on your self-love journey. For the second tip is spending time alone and learning how to become comfortable with it. And I know that this is a scary thing for a lot of people. It definitely used to be an uncomfortable topic for myself as well, but I've learned that as I've gotten older, I really do enjoy just doing things on my own, whether that's running errands, getting food. I just think it's super helpful for your mind and your spirit, because when you spend time alone, you don't really have a lot of distractions around you. You just really don't need to be catering to anybody else's energy. You're just really putting all that focus and attention on yourself and what your thoughts are and what's going on inside for you. And that is so valuable, because in our day and age, it's really hard to take the time and really carve out the time for yourself. So when you do, it is very significant, and finding out what your goals are and asking yourself those deeper questions, and not being susceptible to outside opinion and outside influence, because there are a lot of those. And when you spend time alone, you really don't have that. It can come to your mind, but you're also allowed to let it go, because that is the power of your mind, and you are allowed to redirect that energy into asking yourself the questions that you need to answer for your own life. So I think that learning how to spend time alone and become comfortable with your own company is huge in being more self-loving and maintaining this self-love journey. The third tip that I wanted to share, or habit that I wanted to share, is evaluating your friend group. It'll just be the peers or the closest friends or the core group of people in your life. And this is so important because I'm pretty sure there's a quote or something out there that talks about your personality is 75% of the people that you hang out with the most. I might be wrong on the percentage though, so if you know the correct one, please let me know and correct me. But I'm pretty sure that the quote was something along those lines. So whether that's 50%, 60, whatever, 70, that's still a really big percentage. So I can definitely see that being true because the people that we see most often and has access to us has the ability to influence you whether you know it or not, whether it's subconsciously or consciously. They can influence you in the choices that you make every day, in the lifestyle that you choose, in the way that you view yourself, the way that you speak to yourself. It's really just so much that you're taking from that other person's energy on a daily basis and whenever you see them. So why let that be energy and that is negative? Why let what you're receiving from them, and why let the people that have immediate access to you be people that drain you or just don't even serve you in your personal growth or your self-love journey? Instead, making sure to surround yourself with those that support you and make you want to be better and do better and are cheering you on in your level of self-love and your journey of self-love. And I think that that is really key to overall happiness, but also if it is true that your personality, who you are, is really based upon the people that you are around the most, then you want to make sure that those people are adding something positive in your life and making a positive impact in your way of life and your thinking. If not, it is really doing a disservice to yourself. And I just don't think that your self-love journey and your personal growth will be as transformative if that's the case. So that's another habit or tip or just, I guess, insight that I have on that. I think it also kind of goes without saying, but it's also good to have a reminder that everyone should stop and think, who has immediate access to you? Who are the people that you see most often? And are they supporting you in your growth, serving you in your journey of self-love? For the next habit that I have, I will say it is practicing gratitude. There are studies that show that gratitude is directly linked with happiness. So the more grateful that you are, the more you practice gratitude, the higher your happiness level. And I definitely can see that being true. Whenever I'm making the active choice to be grateful and practice gratitude, after I do so, I'm immediately lifted in my spirits and I already feel so much more positive about my life and who I am and what I already have attracted in my life. And I think when you're on that high vibration and when you're feeling that energy that is gained by just being grateful for every blessing in your life, that leaves room to attract even better things and just keep going up rather than being at a standstill or worse, going downhill. So I do feel as though when you're practicing gratitude, you are happier. And if you're happier, you are going to be much more confident in yourself and so much more open to making choices that are self-loving. And for the next one, I will say is practicing mindfulness. And especially in our day and age, our society is everything is fast-paced and everyone's busy, and it's really hard sometimes to find the time. It's honestly a privilege to find the time and space to just practice mindfulness techniques and give yourself that rest. And I feel that when I do this, I practice mindfulness through yoga and meditation. And these two activities really clear my mind and my headspace of all of the distractions and all of the stressors and things that I'm currently consuming my energy with, and it clears all of that out and makes me centered and puts me into perspective on what it is that is most important to me and what it is that I want to achieve. So it's really practicing that mindfulness gives you that time to just pause, reflect on what's going on inside in your thoughts, in your mind, in your heart, and realizing what direction to take next, what choice to make next, so that you can serve your highest self and that you can become better for. So I do think that taking the time to be mindful and taking that conscious effort to stay in the present is essential for letting self-love into your life and really just reprioritizing it into your daily life. And the next self-love habit that kind of just goes along with what I just mentioned is self-reflection. And I feel as though self-reflection also has a direct link with self-awareness. When you take the time to self-reflect, you will become more self-aware. And when you're more self-aware, you will be on a clearer and easier path to self-love. Because when you're self-reflecting, you're asking yourself the tough questions. You're reevaluating the decisions you made, and you are thinking about what it is in your life that can improve, what is it that can be changed. And I think that when you do that, that is a time where you can be the most honest with yourself and almost reclaim what your truth is. And that can go for reflecting on an experience at your workplace or an experience with a family member or whatever it is, making sure that you take the time to reflect on what your role in it is. So I do think that self-reflecting is a very prime example of loving yourself, because it shows you that you are prioritizing your mental health and your self-awareness by actively working on yourself. And I think that I'm definitely a verbal processor. I love talking it out with friends or whoever is there to listen, but also I know that that's not always an option, so I will do it in my journal and write down whatever it is that I'm thinking or feeling. And I do think that with that outlet, I'm able to reflect on where I'm at mentally and emotionally and where I want to be, and make the steps to go in that direction and take action. So I do feel as though that inevitably invites more self-love in, because I'm thinking first about my emotional and mental well-being and my state of mind, and that is so important. Making sure that you prioritize your peace of mind through self-reflecting is actively an example of showing love to yourself. So the next habit that I will speak about is setting boundaries. And this is something that isn't always easy. It's really easier said than done, but setting boundaries is key to maintaining the most important relationships in your life. And as hard as it is to say no sometimes, remembering that saying no does not make you a mean or bad person. In fact, it makes you a person that is decisive and knows what it is that they need or want, and giving that other person that opportunity to respect your boundaries, and that opportunity to really get a clear understanding of what it is that you need and what you're prioritizing. So I do feel as though when you set boundaries, saying no is simple enough and doesn't require an explanation or justification, as hard as that is. But realizing that the more you set boundaries and stand firm in them, the more you are showing love to yourself, and the more that you are, as I've said in the past few minutes, the more that you are prioritizing your peace of mind and your happiness. I forgot one really important one: writing yourself a love letter. And this sounds cheesy, it kind of is, especially when you start doing it for the first time. I think that this is such an interesting one, because for me personally, it's really easy to write notes and letters of appreciation for my friends, and to write about how amazing they are and how thankful I am to have them in my life. But sometimes it's hard to fill up a page of just nice things about yourself. But after you do it, it is such a rewarding feeling being able to read that back, especially when you are in a moment of sadness or you are just in a tough spot. Going back to that letter and reading that letter that you specifically addressed for yourself, from yourself, and seeing all the things that you admire and respect about yourself, it's something that kind of relates to positive self-affirmations. So I do think that it leaves me feeling in such a happier mood, and I don't know, there's something about reading a letter full of kindness from yourself to yourself. And as I wrap this up, I do want to say that self-love, it's definitely about positive affirmations and all about the habits that I addressed, but more importantly too, it is about keeping yourself accountable and checking yourself whenever you feel as though you are making a decision or making a series of decisions or choices that aren't healthy for you, and that just where you are simply in the wrong. It's about making sure that you pull yourself back in and tell yourself what it is that you could have done better, and just keeping yourself accountable and checking yourself, doing it of course in a kind and gentle way, but being able to nonetheless acknowledge where you messed up and making that promise to yourself that you will try and do better. So that is a huge part of self-love that I think doesn't get talked about as much, but I do see more and more people addressing that now, which is amazing. But yeah, these were all of my self-love habits that I try to maintain on a daily basis, and I hope that this was informative or insightful and that you took something away from it, and I hope that I broke down all these habits in a way that maybe can inspire you to incorporate it into your self-love journey. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!